Hi everybody, this is another mushroom tutorial. So like the other ones, I started adding this little bit of black background around the mushrooms with the edge of the tip facing the mushroom because they have this really fine edge. And so if you want to achieve this, you must always face the edge of the tip to the area you're working on. I did it also the edge of the background, like the soil. I did it also with the edge of the tip so that it would be sharp like the mushrooms, and it also has this kind of blurry area that I did with the heel of the tip so that it would be this blurry affected. Then I started doing the moss and all the ground. I used a ballpoint tip. I started with small dots and ended up on doing this mix of dots and lines because you have all these different kind of moss and shapes. I also added these small mushrooms. It also has some lighter areas on the ground, so I did a mix always with the ballpoint tip between these dots and lines to achieve this mixed ground, moss and dirt. Now for the cap of the mushrooms, I use the small round shader. These shapes are easier to do with it. And I started from the darker area to to the outsides, so that they would be lighter on the outsides, and I was able to create some depth right away. So they kind of I kind of made them with one stroke, pulling from the darker area to the outsides. Well, as you can see, this area is darker. It will create some volume if you darken all the area, even the highlights, because they are not so bright at the bottom of the mushroom. For this one, I did the exact same thing. I started on the darker area and pulled the tone to the brighter area, so that they would have depth and volume. I continued using the small round shader. I turned the coaster on the sides, because if you watch closely, the light doesn't come from the same way, of course. On this side it's slightly different, so pay attention to that. I darkened the edges a little bit, and also this lighter area, that it's not so bright as it was, so that the mushrooms would still have this first place, the first thing you see. They would detach from the dark background. And finally I use a white watercolor pencil to brighten a little bit the highlights, and it gives the mushroom more light and volume. Don't forget to use a fixative before you use varnish or anything else. And there you have. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.